Hey guys, so I am currently on my little workshop tour with Strandberg to promote my new signature guitar. There you go. Yeah. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has come out because this video will probably go up after the clinic is over. But yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who came out and tried out the guitars and asked questions and engaged, and thank you.
Please welcome Sarah Longfield.
Hey you guys, thanks. Hey, thanks for coming to my clinic. Real quick, I think this story is just kind of funny. So a couple nights ago, I think it was right before Boston, and this was kind of right when we were getting into the clinics and everything. I was up, it was like 3 in the morning, and I was kind of freaking out because clinics make me super nervous. And the top recommended video on my YouTube thing was a video of this guy, and it was titled, "I held a clinic at a convention and 0 people came." And I was like, oh no, like this is gonna be me. So thank you for not fulfilling the prophecy and showing up, and I appreciate it. So I started playing guitar when I was about 12 years old, and prior to that I had taken a little bit of piano and violin lessons. I think both of those did kind of shape the weird style that I have. That's the only reason I mention it. I think piano kind of, and I've talked with other people that do a lot of tapping, I think piano kind of led to the finger independence thing, and violin kind of helped me like build up the speed and everything. So I started playing guitar when I was 12, and I hated it for like the first 6 months. I thought it was a garbage instrument. And then someone showed me a Slayer riff, and I was like, okay, I see what you're doing. And from there, it was everything just kind of took off by accident. I started my YouTube channel when I was 14, and then after doing that for a year, I thought that was really dumb, and I wanted to go to college, and then I didn't get into any colleges. So then a couple years went by, and I was touring and you know, doing like a ton of local shows and writing my own music. Oh wait, I guess I should also interject. I was doing all that because I met Keith Merrow. Do you guys know Keith Merrow? Yeah, okay, awesome dude. He also has a signature guitar. If you want to buy his after you buy mine. So he's a great dude, and he gave me some lessons on just like basic recording and a little bit of mixing and all of that, so that really encouraged me to start writing. So yeah, anyways, back to the touring and the YouTube. I ended up meeting and doing a cameo in one of Rob Scallon's videos. Do you guys know Rob Scallon? Yeah? Yeah, cool. Rob's a great dude, and he sat me down after that video and was talking to me, and he was like, why don't you make more YouTube videos? Because I was even more sporadic with it than I am currently. And I was like, well, but why would I? And he was like, well, I make a living doing YouTube. And I was like, what? You do what? So after that talk, I kind of got re-inspired to try to pursue music as a full-time career. And so now we're here, and that's really cool. But I'm going to backtrack again. I'm so sorry. My timelines are all messed up. But I met Ola in 2012, I think. I think it was 2012. And through like a series of interesting circumstances, I came upon having a Strandberg for myself, and so I started making videos with it because I loved it. And Ola saw the videos and reached out about partnering up and working together. And ever since then, it's been smooth sailing. In I think 2015 or 2014 is when I painted the first guitar. I've been posting some of my art at the time, and Ola reached out and was like, well, do you want to try painting one of these guitar bodies? And I was like, yeah, that would be so sick. So they sent me the guitar body, and I think I sat on it for like 3 months. I was so scared. I made a bunch of mock-ups and a bunch of different designs, and I had all these ideas. And I was like, oh, if I screw this up, like I've screwed up a really nice guitar. So that was a whole thing, and it came down to the wire where I had to turn the guitar in to get finished, and I had to just accept what I had done. And so it was like, I think maybe 4 or 5 hours before I was driving it down to Chicago to start the finishing process, and I just threw some paint on there. I was like, okay, yeah, it's colorful and I like it, and that's gonna have to be good enough. I don't even think it had dried by the time I got it down there. And yeah, and now the image of the guitar has kind of surpassed my image. People know and have seen the guitar way more than they've seen stuff that I've done, so I think it's a pretty wild thing. And then last year, Ola started talking to me about doing a signature of it. So that's why we're here. These are the signature guitars. It's pretty crazy to see. Yeah, so I think I'm going to play a couple songs right now, and then I'll go into some techniques, and yeah, maybe we'll do some questions and just kind of hang.
Basically, where you're going with this, today we're in a tea shop. We're going to try some different teas. You're watching Smosh.
Yeah, so I guess...
There's still a call waiting for you on line 2, acoustic, line 2, please. Thank you.
You know, I used to work at Guitar Center.
Oh, yeah.
It was sick. And also, my tuning that I used for a really long time, I called it Guitar Center tuning because I had my 8-string tuned to G, C, C, G, C, G, C, E. And I remembered it because I would tell myself, I'd be like, okay, Guitar Center, Center, Guitar Center, Guitar Center everywhere. That's my Guitar Center prophecy. And now here I am in Guitar Center, giving a workshop on my Guitar Center tuning. And the only reason I stopped using that tuning was my first or second NAMM show. Someone handed me a guitar and they were like, hey, Sarah, do a thing well. And I was like, I play in Guitar Center tuning, so I don't know what you want me to do. So then I had to start writing music in standard again. Yeah, so if you guys can't hear in the back, he was asking about like the songs, the backing tracks, and how I write them and what I do for that live. So actually, when I started writing music, way back when, I think my first DAW was Sonar Home Studio 5, or whoever moved that. Yeah, Sonar Home Studio 5 or something. And I had no idea about interfaces or plugging guitars in or anything, but I always wanted to make music, so I would take some of the built-in stuff that was there, and I was just writing like electronic music, and so that's really where like all of this came from. I was plugging stuff into the piano roll long before I was playing guitar and writing music on guitar. So when I'm working on guitar music, I write all of the electronic stuff first, and like pretty much the bones of the melody and everything before I even think about bringing guitar into it. As for live, when I'm like touring in a band scenario, it's a lot to play a lot of notes and to like, trigger samples or work with a keyboard. So I just track some of the synths live, but I've definitely done it in scenarios where like I have like loopers going and I'll record my own samples for things and then have like keyboards and stuff too. So it is fun to try to like experiment with that live as well. Yep.
Kind of related to that, is the DAW open because you're running your tone through it, or just because you prefer the sound of the track with the stems?
So for the clinic right now, what I'm running is I have the little Line 6 HX Stomp, and I have like 3 tones that I'm working with on that. Because with the HX Stomp, it's smaller, and I think the foot switches, you can only switch between 3 unless you go in and, I don't know, I've only had it for a month, but I have 3 patches, so here we are. And I have this one. I got this one. And then this like crazy little synthy lead thing. And then the backing tracks are just the stems from, well, most of the stems, some of them are missing, from my record. So I just have that up so that I can balance the tone of my guitar with the tracks so that like I can hear the drums and know where I'm at, and like the guitar is still there too. So that's kind of what I'm running right now. Those are just the stems from my thing. Yeah?
How long did you practice for that when you started, and how much did you practice now?
I don't know. I've never really practiced. I don't have like a practice routine. It's I would just sit there for hours and keep trying to play Necrophagist songs until I could. And I still kind of can't, so that's end goal. I don't practice anything intentionally. I'm not like working to get to a point with my playing. I think my relationship with my playing isn't to like boost my technical skills or you know, try to get to certain levels. I think all my playing needs to do is to be able to actualize the sounds that are in my head. So if it can do that, then I'm happy with it. And if it can't, then I do whatever I have to do to get to that point. And so maybe that's practice, I don't know. But I don't like reach out for anything. I just keep writing stuff until I get where I want to be. I love playing technical guitar music, and I hate listening to instrumental guitar music. So we have this thing where like I've got this dissonance going on. I'm like, well, I'm having a blast playing this, but is anyone having fun listening to it? So I think my end game for like the melodic choices that I make would be something that's a perfect combination of both. Something that's engaging for me to play live, so I'm not just bored out of my mind. But also something that people that maybe aren't guitar players can listen to and enjoy. And I think guitar music in general needs to move in that direction of being more accessible and less like, well, this is how it was done in 1973. Like, okay, cool, that's been done 10,000 times. Like, where are we going with this, you know? Yeah?
Would you say someone of your caliber of like musicianship, you still get stage fright?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know really what caliber I'm at, but definitely. And it's been 10 years. I think I've played well over 1,000 shows. Well over 1,000 shows at this point. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if that's anything, but I'm terrified. I'm terrified of everything. I'm terrified of shows and planes and traffic and being in rooms with lots of people and talking in rooms in front of people and like going to the grocery store. So yeah, no, it's an ongoing thing. I think the most important thing is to just push through it. I think the more you make yourself uncomfortable and in situations like that and like being on stage and having to do those kind of scary things, the easier it gets, you know, because eventually you're just like, whatever, I'm here, like, it'll be fine. People die on stage and people like throw up on stage, and like I haven't done either of those yet, so I'm probably okay.
Did you get into playing 8 strings?
So that was also kind of like a weird accident. So remember I told you I hated guitar as I was starting out because I thought it was garbage. So I was like trying to not hate it, and I was at the music store and I saw this guitar that had 7 strings. So I went up to the guy. I didn't know anything about anything, and I was like, is this a mistake? And he was like, no, haven't you ever listened to Steve Vai? And I was like, no. He was like, oh, well, yeah, they make 7 strings. I was like, oh, sick, sign me up. Like, that's cool. I don't know why that was the thing that, like, set it off for me. It was like that and Slayer, and I was like, this is okay, I can do this. And then when 8 strings came out, I actually hadn't really listened to Meshuggah or anything. It was just, that's an even number, and I don't like odd numbers, and so I was like, I gotta get that. That's like leveling up. And I was imagining it like a piano, you know, like I had a 56 key piano, and then I got a 64 key piano, and then I was like, what's up, check out my 88 key piano. And then I found Meshuggah, and I was like, okay, yeah, right, I had the right idea. This is sick, they're doing a sick thing, like, that was how that, was that your question? I don't even know, I'm on some weird thing right now. Who even asked that question? I'm sorry. Oh, I actually am a total masochist, and I love the piano roll. Like, I live in the piano roll. I think I see MIDI controllers largely as getting in the way of what I'm doing, and I don't like having preconceived notions about like what I'm about to do. You know, like when you sit down to play guitar and you have like shapes that you go to, right? You do the same thing on piano, like you have your shapes that you play and the things that you like to do. Whereas if you're looking at an ugly gray screen that's gridded, and you have no idea what you're gonna make. It's just a mystery. And then I just get to keep plugging things in, and it's like a positive feedback loop, because I play a thing and then I'm like, that's okay. And then I make it better and I'm like, oh, that's okay. And you just keep hitting spacebar and things just keep happening. And so...
Are those your favorite colors, or is that just what happened?
Well, it's both. I love colorful things, and I think when I'm writing, I'm like very visual, so I'm trying to write really colorful music because like I like the way that it feels, and I think my art and my music are essentially the same thing, just coming out in different mediums. So it's like I really love to make super colorful art and colorful music, and yeah, that's kind of just an extension of that.
So your crystal that you have? It's not rose quartz, but my question is, really, is that a yoni egg? Where did you purchase your soft rock? Looks like you can probably put it in there.
That is actually exactly what it looks like. Now
it looks like that, doesn't it?
It literally looks like exactly
thing? Yoni?
That's the thing people do. Yeah, they like put
You
rocks in a hoo-ha.
strengthen
You
your...
should be the spokesperson.
It's
like,
strong,
what is it?
it's
It goes
like-
in the hoo-ha. And then Trey's behind going, Yoni egg.